BelGeode, and we are back with some more prepared version 4.5. And tonight, I am in Guam. Why am I in Guam, you may ask? Well, tonight I'm going to show you this amazing aircraft by SimWorks Studios. This is the Cessna T-37B, or Bravo, Tweet. And if this aircraft looks a little bit familiar to you, it should, because this was one of our trainers, in particular for the U.S. Air Force around the Vietnam War period. It actually served as a training vehicle for about 52 years. This livery is extra special. I have taken to calling this particular bird Bonnie. Why have I done that? Well, if you look right down there, you will see a picture of the lovely Bonnie Lee. Now, unfortunately, she is no longer with us, but she is the artist who gave Allie her face, if you've ever seen the t-shirt that I wear. And I wanted to dedicate this flight in her honor, so I asked Matt from Tiger Mouse Designs to see if he could come up with a personalized livery. You can see his little logo there on the side of that purple visor. So this is it. This is the customized livery with the little picture of Bonnie, and that is what I have taken to naming this aircraft. Because it's good luck to have your aircraft named, right? Right. Okay, now, let me tell you about our flight tonight, because this is actually one of the coolest things about this aircraft. You notice that I'm zooming in to the kneeboard. Is that not pretty cool? So what you can do is, if you've got minimal Photoshop skills, you can actually add maps in from SkyVector and so on. We are at the bottom over by where Guam is. We're going to be taking off past this TFR that we're just going to totally ignore. We're going to overfly Rota Airport just to the north there. And then we're going to continue going about north by northeast until we overfly Tinian. And then finally, we're going to dogleg a little bit to the right and land at Saipan. All of those names should be vaguely familiar to you because they are the sites of World War II battles. And the reason why I also chose the Mariana Islands and Guam for this particular flight is kind of a nod to something that we're expecting in DCS World. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that DCS World is going to be coming out with another free map that encompasses all of these islands here. So this is kind of a little bit of a heads up here, and I guess we'll get a basic overview of what the entire Marianas Islands are like. Even though right now, since we're in P3D, everything is mostly default. As you can see, there's a Learjet down there, one of the default Learjets. The building textures also are add-ons. They're, I want to say it's Rex that does them, but I digress. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So we just turned on our battery, and we're going to switch our alternator down to spare and then flip it up to its main position. You can see all the dials and gauges came to life. Very nice. We've got a lot of gas. We don't have a full tank of gas, but we do have enough for this trip, so that should be fine. We don't ever want to put a full tank of gas in there because this thing will fly like a pig. Alright, now that we've got that set up, let's get our position lights on, which is the bottom switch. We'll flip it to the top switch later when we add the strobe lights to the mix. And we're also going to want our fuel pump on, our main fuel pump. That's this one in the center here. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get both of these engines started. This thing did come with two engines. We'll start with the left engine, so we're going to flip this switch to the up position. There we go. We'll wait till it reaches 5, and then we'll flip our ignition on. Wait till that gets past about 12 or so. Yeah, it's closing in on 20, so we'll flip our throttle to the idle position. And I'm going to give it a little bit of go-go juice, just to kind of push some gas in there. Alright, there we go. Okay, that is a good engine start. So now we can go ahead and flip off the switches. Oh, this one doesn't seem to want to flip. Okay, there we go. Okay. Alright, engine 1 is now stable. So let's go ahead and get started on engine 2. We'll flip this to the up position. And wait for 5. There we go. We'll have our ignition on. Looking good so far. Alright, we're ready to introduce fuel. So throttle to idle. And give it a little bit of gas. There we go. We can pull that back down to idle again. And there we go. We've got both engines started. It is that simple to start this bird, folks. This is just so cool. And I love SimWorks Studios' attention to detail, so all the little decals and everything. We're going to get our instrument lights on here. So we've got lights for the gauges, lights for the panels. We'll also turn on our IFF, which I will admit I still haven't quite figured out how to use it as a regular transponder, but I got to go back to the manual for that. But I just wanted to show this real quick here. These are the radios, and look at this. Is that not cool? The little spinning dials and, what do you call it, the knobs and everything. That's awesome. Our DME, look at that coming up there. Everything's initializing. They've thought of everything with this bird. This is why I love SimWorks Studios. Alright, let's get our taxi lights on here. Okay. Yep, everything looks good. And this is the kind of stuff that you can expect with SimWorks. Okay, let's listen to our ATIS.
Bravo, 0448 Zulu, wind 098 at 18, visibility greater than 20 miles, sky condition, clouds at 2,700, clouds at 3,200, 4,300, scattered, temperature 29er 2.21, altimeter 29er86, ILS, runway 6 left and visual, runway 6 right in use, landing and departing runway 6 left and runway 6 right, VFR aircraft state direction of flight, all aircraft read back full short instructions, advise controller on initial contact you have Bravo.
Information Bravo, got it. And we are BelGeode 70 today. So, BelGeode 70 request north departure with Bravo.
BelGeode 70, taxi heading point 4, runway 6 right, using taxiway line Delta, runway 6 right, contact tower on 118.1 when ready.
Taxi and hold, runway 6 right, via taxiways Mike, Delta, runway 6 right. BelGeode 70. Okay, so let's get our cheat sheet up. Yep, there we can see the familiar yellow arrows. Outstanding. Alright, so we're just about ready to go. A couple more things that I need to do. First of all, I'm going to need to do my controls wipeout. And as a matter of fact, since I can't see everything from in the cockpit, we're going to go outside the cockpit. Alright, everything checks out, all of our flying surfaces, so we've got it set to take off on our flaps, and we're going to move out. Let me hit our nose wheel steering there, otherwise we're not going to make it to the runway properly. Okay, there we go. One thing I will say about the steering on this thing, she is a little bit squirrely, but from everything that I was able to research about the real aircraft, it is pretty squirrely on the ground. So I would say that SimWorks Studios actually nailed that. You may also notice my takeoff trim light is lit. One of the weird things that I've discovered through reading the manual on this bird is we actually need to make sure that light gets turned off when we have proper takeoff trim. So what I'll do is I'll adjust all of that at the hold short, and we'll do everything else that we need to do to make sure this bird is ready to go. Our Learjet should have just taken off. I think we just saw him fly off in the same direction that we are going to be going, so that would be kind of northeast. We, however, are going to need to taxi all the way down to the end there. And the way that this runway is laid out, this taxiway doesn't go all the way to the end. It's one of those where we're going to have to like go down the runway, backtrack a little bit, and then turn around. So we're really going to be giving the steering a workout on this one. Oh boy, gotta love it. Alright, but as you can see, everything is looking good on the dials there. Everything's in the green. I don't see any immediate caution or warning lights up there. And I really love the detail that they put into these gauges and everything. That's one thing I will say about a SimWorks Studios product. This is the first one that I've been in that has high detail but does not murder your FPS. I had a big problem with the F4 Phantom, which I showed years and years ago, where even though it was flawlessly designed, it kept hitting my FPS something fierce. And you also have to remember, back in those days, I did not have VR, so I've never actually used the F4 Phantom in VR. Currently, I am in VR, and I seem to be getting really good FPS with this thing. So my hat goes off to SimWorks Studios. Whatever it is that you did to sort out that issue and make the textures sing like they do right now, you done did good. You done did really, really good. And I appreciate it, as one VR user to another, I guess. Alright, but here is our hold short. So we're going to tap the brakes here, give it little love taps. 6 right, yep, this is definitely our runway that we're looking for. We're checking for traffic. Since this is P3D, traffic could appear at any point in time. So I got to keep those habits fresh. See, now you know why I keep checking for traffic in things like X-Plane and so on, even though I know I don't have any AI traffic going. Because you never know. It's good to be in that habit. Alright, let's get our landing lights on. And a position switch. We'll get the position lights and strobe up. And we'll also turn on the beacon, which is kind of weird. I thought the beacon usually gets turned on before the engine gets started, but I don't know. I guess we learn something new every day. Now I'm setting this little course indicator to 030, but I'll admit I'm not 100% on how the whole navigation works. I'm just going to be relying on this map here, plus its course directions. So hopefully we should be able to find these islands sticking out of the Pacific. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh crap, I forgot these on. Ooh. Why didn't you tell me, viewers? Oh, man. Alright, well, it's taken care of now, so we're good to go. Alright, so I think the next thing we're going to need to do is to call for takeoff clearance. So, BelGeode 70 is at runway 6 right, requesting takeoff.
BelGeode 70 cleared for takeoff. Runway 6 right, departure to the north approved.
BelGeode 70, taking 6 right, departure to the north approved. Thank you. Man, oh man, it feels like I've got another 1,000 miles to go before I reach the end of runway 6 right. Sheesh. And as I'm sure you can imagine, I'm taxiing really slow in this thing, and there's of course 2 reasons for why that's happening. The first should be pretty obvious. I mentioned it earlier. This thing is kinda squirrely when it comes to its nose wheel steering, so you definitely don't want to go fast, otherwise you'll be doing the slip and slide all around the taxiway and the runways. The second reason, however, you may have noticed that whenever I record these P3D episodes, I am always using Active Sky, the latest version of Active Sky for prepared version 4.5. Well, this time around, I decided I wanted to put in real-world weather. I figured I'd have a greater likelihood of getting clouds and so on, and I got a little bit more than I bargained for. Cast your attention to that windsock directly across the runway there. You see that, right? That's pretty much telling us that we've got an 18 knot crosswind on this runway. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and give the disclaimer right now. This could get really freaking interesting. But thankfully, this thing does have a switch for the nose wheel steering, so I can turn it off and then rely on the rudder, and hopefully we're going to try and take off, okay? So I need positive vibes here, because you know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down, throttles up. Holy hell in a handbasket! Come on, baby, get off the ground! Oh my god, are we airborne? Can I unclench now? Holy crap, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay, but it looks like we got positive rate, so gear up. We'll put the flaps up and forget this even happened. Oh my. Okay, there's our ATC lady. Lovely. Thank you. At least this confirms we're flying. Alright, we want Guam departure. Guam departure, BelGeode 70 is with you, 1,500.
BelGeode 70, Guam departure, squawk 7433.
I'm hoping this works. Squawk 7433, BelGeode 70. I don't see it changing on the thing, though.
BelGeode 70, radar contact 2 miles east of Guam, 2,200, altimeter 2986.
Copy radar contact, altimeter 2986, BelGeode 70. Okay. Whew. Alright, so now that we've gotten the drama out of the way, we can take a look at Guam. And part of the reason why I wanted to show you this particular island is because of the scenery add-on that I'm using. The scenery add-on is by Emerald Scenery, and basically it's a mesh add-on. They really didn't add anything to the airports or to the buildings, the villages, the towns, or anything. What they did is they improved the mesh throughout the Mariana Islands, and we're going to be seeing that reflected in the various islands that we're flying to. Let me see, we're supposed to be at 030, so I'm going to swing out to the left here, and actually let's go to the outside view right now and check out Emerald Scenery's handiwork with the mesh for this island. Okay, so we're just about on heading, and before I go any further, I should mention this thing does not have an autopilot, by the way, so it's kind of like the L-39 in that regard, which, if you recall, the L-39 was a really popular one that I used that also had a similar type of livery with the purple and the white. I used it during FSX, and I'm trying to remember if I actually made any P3D videos with the L-39. I don't think I did, but I might have done like 1 or 2 videos with Flight Sim World when that was still going. But, be that as it may, I wanted to give you some quick facts on this aircraft. So, obviously it's got a crew of 2. You can see my buddy to the right of me there. And the length is about 29 feet 3 inches, wingspan of about 33 feet, we'll call it 34 feet just about, and it's about 9 feet tall. The engines, this thing has 2 Continental Teledyne J69-T-25 turbojets capable of 1,025 pounds per foot as far as thrust goes. That gives this thing a max speed of 425 miles per hour. So, that's not bad. It's really not bad. Cruise speed is about 360 miles per hour at 35,000 feet, so obviously this thing's got oxygen and so on and so forth. It's got a range of about 932 miles, or roughly about 810 nautical miles, and a service ceiling of about 38,000 feet. It is indeed a pretty capable aircraft for its time. Okay, so we seem to be going on course right now, and ooh, look, there's the moon. Very nice. All right, so we got a waning moon. After all, I did set this to real-world weather. And we've got our Bonnie on our map case for good luck, so yeah, everything is fine. Awesome. So I wanted to take a moment and talk a little bit about how SimWorks Studios has implemented this aircraft, which in my opinion is nothing short of impeccable. So we've got the stunning visuals, and of course everything is modeled in meticulous detail. All the switches and knobs work. We've got this custom livery, which Matt did an absolutely outstanding job with. I should also advise you that this livery does not come with the aircraft. However, the aircraft does have its own PBR liveries that are included, and I'm pretty sure that the community will take it upon themselves to create other liveries for this aircraft at some point in time in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, let me check our map really quick here. We should be a little bit more than halfway. Unfortunately, this is not a moving map, so it won't show your actual location on it. It's just an old school traditional map on an e-board. But that's fine. We can live with that. I don't think that will be a problem at all. Now, one thing that this aircraft does have, which I do not currently notice working in VR, are animated pilots. So yourself and, of course, your instructor pilot, or if you decide to switch seats, they're supposed to move with the flight and react to what you're doing.
BelGeode 70, contact Cockpit control at 118.7.
Okay, well, pardon me for a second here. Going to 118.7, BelGeode 70. Alright, and we should see the dials turn. Yep, there they go. Alright, let's call in. Oakland Center, BelGeode 70 with you, 8,000.
BelGeode 70, Oakland control, roger, altimeter 2984.
Alright, duly noted. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, this thing does have the possibility to animate the pilots, and of course you saw earlier when I was doing my controls wipeout, the hands move and the legs move and so on and so forth. They also have this thing called auto possession, where if you take control of one of the two pilots, the other one will let go of the controls. And of course, you have the option of not showing the pilots at all. Alright, looks like we're closing in on Rota. It's right there on that island, smack dab in the center there. So everything that I just mentioned regarding the pilots and some of the other features are available on what they call the Aircraft Configuration Manager. When you hit Shift 1, I believe it is, you can set up how you want the pilots to appear, or if you want the pilots to appear, as well as whether or not you want the nifty purple visors, which of course yours will be a different color, to be up or down. And you can also set this thing up to either be cold and dark, or ready to taxi, or ready to fly, or you can even fly solo. What in the heck is going on there? Look at that. I think I may have discovered a problem with this mesh. It looks like Rota Airport is in a giant sinkhole. Oh, we're going to have to go outside and look at this. Holy crap, that was the mother of all sinkholes. But I have an explanation as to why that's happening. I'm going to blame this one on user error. when Emerald Scenery comes up with the mesh for these Mariana Islands here, they do have another configuration tool that you can check mark to flatten where the airports are so that that doesn't happen. It's kind of a trade-off, if you will. Instead of showing like the actual elevations, it will kind of blend it so that the airport doesn't look like it's in a 300-foot sinkhole like we just saw. But, like I said, I'm going to blame that one on user error. I'm not going to take points off for Emerald Sceneries because they actually do really good work. One of these days I'm going to show you their Solomon Islands in another P3D episode, and you'll see exactly what I mean. And that one is done considerably better. Alright, but since we are in the tweet, I want to do a little bit of aerobatics. Well, okay, not much. But I am going to do an aileron roll. I have to. I just have to. So, let me tip us up a little bit here. Okay, yep, we're at about there is good, and we've got a decent speed. So, now we can do our roll. And let's see how this thing handles in what is essentially a snap roll. Alright, here we go. Whee! I love it. Okay, that was pretty cool. But you know what? I can't leave it at just one, so let's go to the outside view and try that again. Alright. That's all the aerobatics that I'm prepared to show you for today. But I hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, you can actually put this thing through its paces, and even though it is slightly underpowered, it can still do what you ask of it. Okay, so we're just past Rhoda. It's difficult to see, but we are more than halfway on our journey here. Alright, I forgot to mention that aircraft configuration page, in addition to being able to decide whether or not the pilots are showing or not, and whether or not you're cold and dark startup, you can also set this thing up to have its radio pages. There's like 20 different preset frequencies, which I assume you can change, but don't quote me on that one because I actually haven't tried it. And there's also TACAN capability available in this thing as well, so there's all kinds of TACAN frequencies. Bear in mind this thing does not have a tailhook, so I do not recommend you try landing it on an aircraft carrier, and I know there's probably a few of you out there that are going, oh really, challenge accepted. Give it a shot and let me see your videos if you want to try that. But at least with the TACAN frequencies you might be able to find a carrier somewhere at sea. Alright, there are other things that this thing has, some notable quirks with this aircraft, in particular the throttle cutoff. Now you will have noticed that when I was starting this thing I was actually using the right set of throttles. That's the instructor's set of throttles. The reason why the student's set on the left side does not have the capability to go from cutoff to idle. You can only do that on the instructor side. That's one of those weird quirks with this particular aircraft, so I figure it's worth noting. And you've also noted that I've been flipping the switches. Basically, you use both the right click and the left mouse click for that. Okay, if I had to guess, I would say we probably have about 10 or 12 minutes more to fly.
BelGeode 70, contact Oakland Control on 118.4.
Okay, we'll do 118.4 for BelGeode 70. Alright, so once again we get to go spinny with the dials here. Oakland Center, BelGeode 70 with you, 10,000.
LG70, Oakland Control, roger. Altimeter 2983.
2983, got it. Okay, well, we're a little bit higher than I would have liked, but I'm going to adjust our course slightly. So the little tiny island up ahead, I believe, is called Aguijan or Aguijan, I don't know. But it is just south of Tinian, which is the island just before where we're going, the island of Saipan. So, in other words, we're getting kind of close to our destination there. So what I'm going to do is, once we get over Aguijan, I am going to start our descent. In fact, I'm actually going to start our descent right now because we're at 10,000 feet. We're not supposed to be that high. I only plan to go up to about 8,000 feet, so we're going to need to start bringing her back down here. One thing I will mention, this aircraft is a little bit of a pain to try and trim out if you've got turbulence or any other kind of winds blowing. So I've actually been really jockeying the controls here just to try and keep us at the same altitude throughout the entire flight. Of course, I kind of messed that all up when I did our little aileron roll there, but hey, you know, I kind of wanted to show you that you can do fun stuff with this aircraft like that. So, don't blame me, you know, I'm just, you know, doing my thing. Aerobat's gonna aerobat, or something along those lines. Alright, let me see. I don't recall if there's anything that I did not cover about the tweet. I think I went through a lot of the major things that are included with this thing. One thing I will say is I am very much hopeful that they are going to bring this aircraft to the new Microsoft Flight Sim that's supposed to be coming out at some point in time in 2020. Do not ask me in the comments when. I do not have any particular insider information for you. It's coming in 2020. That's all they promised us, and that's all I will say. It is still in alpha testing right now, by the way, so it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Alright, there is Aguijan directly ahead of us, so I'm going to start bringing us down. Look at that, we're creeping up again. See, this is exactly what I was talking about with the trimming. Alright, you know what? Let's go to the outside view for a moment here, and then we'll sort out our top of descent and our approach. Alright, so that was Aguijan, and directly ahead is Tinian, which, as you can see on our nifty map, is the last waypoint before Saipan and Saipan Airport. So as we're beginning our descent, I am going to do something that a viewer pointed out that I don't ever seem to do. I'm going to cancel flight following. Oakland Center, BelGeode 70, cancel flight following.
LG70, Oakland Control, cancellation received. Squawk 1200, frequency change approved.
Alright. There you go. Now I should be good with all viewers out there. I've officially canceled flight following, and now we need to find our airport and go ahead and listen to the ATIS real quick.
Saipan Airport information, Sierra 0528 Zulu, wind 07 minor at 14, visibility greater than 20 miles, sky conditions, few clouds at 2,600, temperature 2 minor, dew point 24, altimeter 2 minor 85, ILS runway 7 in use. Landing and departing, runway 7. DFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Sierra.
Alright, information Sierra, gotta remember that. Tune them in real quick. Saipan Tower, BelGeode 70 with Sierra, inbound, runway 7 to land.
BelGeode 70, Saipan Tower, continue, runway 7, altimeter 2984.
Inbound runway 7, altimeter 2984, BelGeode 70. Okay, so now we can officially begin our descent into Saipan, and hopefully we'll have a better landing than we did a takeoff. So we just overflew Tinian, and we need to make a right turn slightly. It says 041 degrees. So let me just take a quick look in that direction there. I really can't see that far. I know they said the visibility was supposed to be greater than 10 miles, but it just all seems to fade to white to me. Hopefully that is something that will be rectified with the new flight sim. Actually, I already know it will be because I got the opportunity to do that hands-on back in September of 2019. So, yeah, I kind of have an idea what's coming. So there we go. Okay. All right. So, oh, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, that's our low speed or our gear warning. Okay, it's because I've got the throttle really low right now because I'm trying to lose some airspeed. As you saw outside, I had our speed brakes out to try and bring it down because I need to bring it down below about 120 knots before I can even think about putting out the flaps, let alone the landing gear. So we're just bringing her down nice and easy, and I might as well turn on our landing lights. And there we go. Now you can see Saipan off in the distance. The airport is literally directly ahead. So runway 7 veers off to the right side, so that means we're going to need to turn a little bit to the left in order to get in on base leg. So I'm going to bring us down to around 1,800 feet before we actually line up on the runway there. But you can see the approach lights in the distance there, the VASI lights. And there's the top end of Tinian. Looking pretty good, I gotta say, considering the fact that the textures are still default textures. It's amazing how much a mesh can really make a difference for a scenery. Alright, this thing is not going to stop beeping at me here. Sheesh. Okay, come on, baby. I'm going to put the speed brakes out a little bit more and lose some more airspeed here because we're kind of dropping like a rock, which is not helping my cause as far as slowing us down. However, if I do a sharp bank here, we should be good to go.
BelGeode 70, clear to land, runway 7.
Alright, well, alright then. Clear to land, runway 7, BelGeode 70. Okay, now we are committed. We absolutely need that gear down, and looks like we're just below our flap extension speed, so we can also get our flaps down half. Wait for the aircraft to slow down to about 100 knots, and then I will drop flaps down full. And then we got to play the trim tango to make sure that this thing is on a good glide slope and will be able to get us down with a minimal amount of effort. Just to give you an idea of what kind of power scheme we're looking at here, I've got this thing pretty much trimmed up, and of course I've got full flaps, and my throttle is right around the 85% mark. And as you can see, we're just about at 100 knots. Yeah. But you know what? I'm getting a really good glide slope right between 400 and 500 feet per minute. So as long as we can hold it right here, we should be able to bring her in fine. We do look like we're a little low though, so I'm going to give it a touch more throttle. Might need to trim us up a little bit more, but there's not much more trim that I can really give this thing, so you really have to work the throttle. One thing I will caution you on, similar to the L39, this thing does take a little while for it to spool up, so you got to kind of anticipate any changes ahead of time. You do not want to be late coming in with the power, otherwise that will end really badly. Alright, I did make my cursory glances to check for traffic, and I don't see anything coming in either direction, so it looks like we are good to go to land. Woohoo! We made it! Alright, and I've got the speed brakes on. We're going to gently tap the wheel brakes. And I do have my nose wheel steering switch turned on. By the way, please make sure you bind something for that nose wheel steering switch. The default command is the command for the no smoking sign. Why? I have no idea. That's what they chose to run with. Alright, I got the flaps up. And let's see, speed brakes in. Alright, we're going to need to bust a UE here because I just missed my exit. So let me go ahead and put it on to taxi lights. And I'm also going to want to put the position lights from position and strobe to just position. So let's do that real quick before we taxi off.
Contact ground on
Not now, lady. I'm busy. I don't even know what frequency she wanted me to go to, but I'm just going to acknowledge it because we are just about done. I need to figure out why that switch didn't flip, though. What the heck is going on? Oh, the pop-up menu. Yeah, I had to lift up the Oculus Rift to see it. Sheesh. And I realize I didn't tell you all before, so hey, welcome to Saipan and Saipan International Airport. I finally remembered the textures on the airport buildings are the HD airport textures by Rex. So that's pretty much the only custom thing going on in this airport. You may have noticed that the buildings are floating. Again, that is partially due to what I explained earlier. It is not the fault of Emerald Scenery's mesh for Guam and the Mariana Islands. It is more user error because I forgot to check mark the actual box that's supposed to fix all of that stuff. So, whoopsie, my bad. Alright, but with that having been said, we are here and we're just going to push up to our parking spot here and then we will call this episode done. So I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this little virtual tour in this first look of the Tweet. Gotta say, I am in love with this thing. I am in love with everything that SimWorks Studios makes. They have not disappointed me yet, and they certainly did not do it this time around. It is a very quirky little bird, and I'm still trying to come to terms with it, but everything that I have seen thus far, I really enjoy. So mad props to SimWorks Studios for coming up with this aircraft. You done did good. That's all I could say. It's an absolutely outstanding job. And while we're on the subject of thanking people, I would like to thank Matt from Tiger Mouse Designs for this custom livery with Bonnie's likeness on the map case and my, of course, BelGeode logo on the wings. Really awesome job, Matt. I can't thank you enough. And when I see you in Las Vegas for Flight Sim Expo 2020 in June, I believe it's June 12th through the 14th, information will be below. Matt, remind me that I owe you a drink, at least one drink, for this livery, because that's freaking awesome. Actually, I think I owe you two, because he also did the livery for my Tomcat in DCS. Okay, but that's about it for me. So just to remind you, this has been a PAYWARE product. This is the SimWorks Studios T-37B tweet. The scenery that we've been using has been enhanced by Emerald Scenery Designs Guam 3M Terrain Mesh. That is also PAYWARE, but it's only like $9 or something like that. So it's really not a whole heck of a lot, but it's definitely worth it as far as making Guam and the Mariana Islands look better. And I would like to thank all of you for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in prepared version 4.5. If you enjoy this video, please feel free to give me a like. And don't forget to subscribe in order to be notified for other videos that I'm coming up with. Check out the information for Flight Sim Expo down below, and I will see you there. Ciao!